since we have two people who have recently undergone sizable surgeries in recovery and kind of brought up how do you deal with catastrophic medical events while in recovery when they want to give you things that used to be your drug of choice or used to be problematic, you know? So, who are you, Elise?
I'm Elise.
Oh.
I'm an addict.
Cool. I'm Mark, and this is...
I'm Kat, and I'm an addict.
Kat. So, both of us just recently... So what'd you have done?
I had a total ACL replacement.
A total ACL replacement. For those who don't know what that is, what does that mean?
It's when they went in and put a cadaver ligament into my knee because I completely tore it. So they cut me open in like 5 or 6 different places and went in with a microscopic, and went in and pinned a new one there, a new ACL there. It's a ligament that holds pretty much your thigh to your shin, and it allows you to bend your knee.
So, you have dead people parts in you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's great. Well,
she's like awesome.
I had something that recently felt like they sewed my stomach to my chin, which was a hernia surgery, which is kind of what it felt like the first few days. But, basically both of us having sizable medical things recently, realizing I'm going to have another one later this year where they're going to, take out a sizable chunk of my jaw and replace it with dead guy bone, I think, or some version of that. And some plates and some catastrophic thing. So, how do you deal with being in recovery and, the realities that sometimes medications involve things that used to be catastrophically bad for us? So, Kat, earlier we were talking, what was your initial thought? Like, what was going on?
I was like, oh, no, I'm going to end up relapsing. That was like the first thought. If they give me any pain medication, and it's in my hand, it's in my face, I'm going to take the whole bottle and I'm going to end up relapsing. And I'm not going to be where I'm at now. That was my first initial thought. And It was very scary because I knew, that was my drug of choice, so I was like, I don't know. I let my mind screw myself for the longest, for a month leading up to the surgery, month and a half leading up to it, and it was very difficult. I mean, even though I was talking with my partner, talking with my sponsor, and trying to come up with a plan that it'll be okay and that I won't have it in my possession, still it's like if it's, we're addicts, I know for me personally, if it was anywhere around, I'd go find it. You know what I mean? I'd be on the hunt for it, so I was like, it's got my name on it, I'm gonna eat the whole bottle, and that's where my
It's
mind
legitimate.
Yeah, I can get away with
Doctor
it.
gave it to me.
Pretty much.
This is totally fine.
Yep. So, I mean, in the end, it smoothed its way out. But yeah, that was my first initial thought. It was very scary.
Yeah, the scary part of any prescription that says take as needed.
Yeah.
By whose definition is needed? By my definition, I need it.
Yeah.
But it comes into the idea, am I talking myself into bullshit? Or am I taking what I actually need? So, okay. Have you ever had any experience with this, Elise?
No, but something that, when I had some dental work, I had, some pain pills, and I just took them as prescribed, but, something, just to nerd out for a second, something that came to mind of something that I had learned about in school that I thought was really helpful for me when I thought about it, that there's a part of our brain called the insula that doesn't know the difference between physical pain and emotional pain. It just sees it all as the same thing. And so that whether we're coming out of a breakup or a medical procedure, the insula thinks it's the same thing. And it was really interesting. I guess they did a study where, like, they basically they gave people, like, someone who was, like, let's say they just got out of something emotionally painful, like a breakup, and they gave them Tylenol, and they actually felt better, because that part of their brain doesn't know the difference. And, like, even though that sounds kind of crazy, it made a lot of sense to me, because a lot of people used opiates for emotional pain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe some people started with, like, actual prescription for physical pain, but then we're like, oh, this is really good for all that emotional pain too. And so, like, when you were saying, Mark, like, take as needed, like, if we have a lot of emotional shit, a lot of emotional baggage going on, then, like, as needed, I mean, how do you measure emotional pain?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and how do you know when, because I had the same thing happen, a while ago. Like, I remember I had another hernia surgery like 2 years ago, and I remember I was really early in recovery, and I was super scared of this whole process, and then, you check out of the doctor and, like, oh, here's your prescription, and I was like, I don't want that, and I put it away, and then I go out in the waiting room, and the lady comes walking out, hey, you forgot this. I was like, I don't want that, and I left it I just set it down, left it on the table, we go out in the parking lot, and then this other lady comes running after me with this, here you go. And then we go to the pharmacy, and they had called it in ahead for me. So when we went to get the antibiotics, they gave me this big thing of Oxycontin. I was like, I don't fucking want this. Get away from me. But, being a little bit, the other side of it, I was shocked how far Tylenol and aspirin and a bag of ice will go. Over the long term. But there's some things that are, when I had the thing where they basically ground away half my jaw, they gave me, I can't remember what the opiate was, but something that, it was hard. Now, to be honest, I don't know, like, it was incredibly painful. Like, bone pain it was a lot. And, I could, even moving your head in any direction made it just this throbbing, crazy pain. So, I mean, there are times that it's beneficial, but as addicts, how do you figure out when am I taking it for what it's actually used for, and when am I taking it for any other purpose? Because you're right, emotional pain can be numbed as easily with, and I'm not saying this to encourage anybody to try if you've never have, but emotional pain can be numbed as easily as physical pain with painkillers. I think that's why most people used. So what did you tell yourself when you were diving down the rabbit holes of, oh my God, my life is going to be destroyed and I'm going to give up everything I had?
That's pretty much what it was, is that I'm gonna end up relapsing. Like, this is not gonna be good. And, like, I had other people tell me that it'll be okay, but I, in my mind, was like, no, it's not. You know what I mean? Because that's what I did, and that's what I originally started using for was my back. A friend of mine had it and said, here you go. And I'm like, all right, cool, yeah, I like this. I'm good. I can go back to work and it'd be okay. And then eventually it just got to be a habit. Like, I never thought about, like, with the way that Elise was saying, with all the emotional pain, and taking it, and it drowned that out and it blocked it out. Pretty much the same as, having back pain or, knee pain or jaw pain or whatever. I never paid attention to that, and so it just kept on going, with all the losses and the breakups and, just the things that life throws at you. We were just masking it, and I never really paid attention to it. So in my mind, it was like, I'm going to take this and I'm going to go right back out, and that's where I was in that thought pattern for like a month.
Yeah, because that's what I've always done.
Yeah, that was my, my DOC, and I'm like, I was scared.
Well, I mean, thinking about it in the reality that, if I based my current decisions on my past actions,
yeah,
fucking hey, you put me anywhere near with anything that's going to change mood altering or mind altering, I'm going to take it till there's none left, or I end up in jail. But that's based on the person I was at the time that I was doing those things, which was a ton of unresolved pain, a ton of unresolved emotional shit, a ton of, like, I hadn't done any of the work that I've done now to get to where I'm at to have a different outcome. So, but it's really easy, to look back, oh my God, last time I touched that, it was catastrophic, But how can, like, I was never conscious of any of this shit. Like, I would just be like, what do you got? Like, give me all of it. I don't give a shit what it is. I will take all of it until there's none left, and then I'll go find more.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And the hard thing, I know there's science behind this, but the reality is, when you start taking it, it works, but then your body starts to adapt to whatever you're taking, because their body is super resilient and adaptive, and then you got to take more and more and more to get less and less effect until, you get down the road. That is addiction and whole. It works really good at first, and then you have to take more and more and more, and it works less and less and less, and even though you're taking more, it's working less. And then you get down to the road where it doesn't work at all, and you're just chasing to try to get some semblance of normalcy. So you can feel just normal again. Because if not, you're dope sick and you're, down all those holes. But how do you... So you talked... you said a little while ago you had support from a sponsor, your partner, from other people in your life?
Yeah.
What did that look like? What do you mean? How did they help you through that?
The sponsor was like, it'll be okay, you know what I mean? Like, just check in with me, whenever you take it, and, we can get how you're feeling, and we can rate it, on a scale. If it's above a certain pain level, then okay. And then, with my partner, we've been together for a little while now, so she kind of knows what's going on and knows, whenever I'm in pain or whenever I'm not. So whenever I'm lying or, she knows that she can feel it. And
she smells your bullshit is what
you're
saying?
Yeah, she'll call me out on it real quick. So she knew, that, like, no, she's, like, really hurting and she needs one. Like, 'cause she'd asked me a couple times, like, do you need something? And I'm like, no, I'm good. And so
Because she had it?
Yeah, she had it. She had it the whole time. Like I said,
so you weren't in possession of it?
No, I never knew where it was at. And that was something that we talked about because of my fear of getting a hold of it and eating the whole bottle, or taking the whole bottle. She knew that, and she was like, "No, I'll take it." So we had that planned out way before. As soon as it come out the pharmacy, it went into her hand.
Okay.
And she had it the whole time, and so she knew where it was at. I never knew where it was at all.
That's cool. So you set up layers of modes of protection against yourself.
Yeah, tons of them. Because I needed it.
What were the other ones? So you had your sponsor that you would talk through the levels of pain.
Yeah.
You had your partner who held on to the actual medications.
Yeah.
What else?
And then, if I had to go to, any other, I went to a meeting at the end, because this was like on a Tuesday. I went Saturday on a meeting, and they were there, and they were checking on me. And I just had, the coworkers and, just other people, just texting me, calling me up, asking me how I'm doing. Even with my family too, and they're, 1,000 miles away, in either direction, they would still call me up and ask me, how I was doing and what was going on, and how.
So you must have been pretty vocal about what was coming up.
Yeah.
For all these people to know and to be able to support you, that means you actually had to have spoken up.
Yeah, because like I said,
hide.
I had that fear, of relapsing. They're like, nah, you've come too far, to end up going backwards. We're not gonna let this happen.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Elise?
Yeah, I like that, and I feel like, to me, just hearing you, Kat, say, like, I felt fear and I shared that. Like, to me, that's the big difference of recovery. Like, when I do things like that, I know I'm not who I used to be because I never would have felt fear because I didn't care, and therefore I never would have shared it, And so it's all, to me, it's like, if I feel afraid that I might do something that would somehow sabotage my life, that's actually kind of like a good sign to me, because it's like I care and I'm aware, and that's not how I used to be. And so that tells me already that like that I'm definitely more on the road of not repeating old behaviors.
Yeah, totally. And coming into there's such a huge piece of this. I think that's just being conscious of your own things. Like they
Mm-hmm.
gave me oxys when I left after this hernia surgery, and I was like, my immediate thought was drug addict shit. I was like, 5 milligrams. What the hell is that going to do?
Right.
Wait, that means I could take 6 and I'll get 30 milligrams now.
Mm-hmm.
But the first day it was really bad, so I took one as they said, and then the second day or the second night took one to go to when I was sleeping so I could get through the night without waking up every 3 seconds. And then the next day I remember sitting there going be like, well, they're there. I'm justified and I can, but I was like, do you actually need this? And then I looked at the Tylenol and the Advil that was right beside it. And I'm like, well, let's see what it is. Let's try that first. And they worked. They worked just fine. And I put some ice on there, and every day it got increasingly better, But it was that little, there was that bottle sitting by my bedside table that was just sitting there going, eat me, eat me, eat me.
Yeah, it has my name on it.
Yeah, it has my name on it. I'm justified. It came from a doctor. This is 100% legal. Blah, 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 blah. Everything that had nothing to do with the reason it was given to me to begin with, which was pain.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked it up, walked over to the toilet, and flushed them down the toilet. I'm like, all right, cool. Because I'll still talk, at 7 years clean, I will still talk myself into bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Of somehow I can justify, if I'm justifying or rationalizing or talking myself in or out of some shit, it's probably bullshit.
Yeah,
so just
and if I don't know, I can just share it with somebody who knows me, and they can tell me.
Yeah, totally. And finding a way to do that. So, looking at the, excuse me, the ways, because this is a big piece of, it's just because it's such a slippery slope to be able to just come back through and be like, because you're right, Elisa. I was thinking about, like, in my old life, I would have never said anything to anybody about anything. And that you spoke up and you talked to your sponsor, you talked to your friends, you talked to your coworkers, you talked to your family, and you told everybody, hey, I need support in this shit. I need you to have my back in this. I did. With my partner, I was just like, you're picking me up, you're taking me to the hospital, we're going here.
Yeah.
This is exactly how many are in this bottle. She didn't hold them for me because,
Right.
Part of me, I know me, if I wanted to, I don't give a fuck where you hide them, I'm going to find them.
Yeah.
So we just, but it was like, but I was honest, I'm like, all right, there's 15 of these things in here. And what does it say? As needed. So what that means is every 6 hours means 1. So at best you could take 3 in a day. And I want you to look in here, and if they're not there per order, what it says, we need to have a conversation. And she did, But that also kept me from fucking talking myself into, some sneaky version of bullshit where I'm just trying to hold myself, because I won't hold myself accountable. I just won't. I can try, and sometimes I'll be successful, but if you're watching,
is there a difference?
It's a big help,
yeah, if it's
to know that it's just because I can talk I can justify anything to myself, but when it's somebody else, I have to version. Alicia, be like, shut the fuck up. You're so full of shit. Don't give me that bullshit. You just fucking ate him because you wanted to eat him. So,
Yeah, and I feel like I like what you were saying, Mark, that like it doesn't matter like how much time you have. Those thoughts can come up, and they can come up about other behaviors. Like maybe it's not so much using anymore, but it can be like other things, like other behaviors that are probably like not in our best interests for one reason or another, and then the justification, I think, sometimes can even become, well, at least I'm clean.
Yeah, totally.
But we're going around doing and justifying other bullshit, So I feel like there's layers to this thing, and there's layers to like you guys were saying, like, oh, this is under my name, and like, how am I going to get in trouble? And I'm in pain, and this is legitimate. But like, the difference today is like, we all have self honesty. Like, we all have integrity, where it's like, it's not about being caught or somebody else blaming us or people getting mad at us or external negative consequences. It's about like, who do I want to be today? Like, how's this going to affect me emotionally and spiritually? Like, is this who I am today? Do I want to take this added pill today? Even if I'm the only one who knows.
Yeah, I mean, the weirdest side effect was like what I used to really crave the feeling of, I hate it now. It was just like, ugh. Like, I came out of anesthesia like barely, like, I don't even think I could talk for a little while, and they're like, we're gonna give you some fentanyl for pain. And I remember like looking at the dude just like, oh, that's not right. I couldn't even like verbally say words yet, and then it was just like they gave it to me, and it was just like, I just remember feeling oppressively wanting to throw up and sick, and just like, oh, this is what I used to like, and leaving, and then just all the stomach shit, the constipation, all the things that came with it, just fucking horrific. And I remember sitting there 2 days after, just being like, I hate this. This shit sucks. That because when you take away the self-esteem, the integrity, like all of the things that I'm super proud of now, that are actually, I don't know if I'll go as far as say proud, but that I like about myself now, are in total conflict with those feelings. Like, I used to have those feelings because I didn't have any integrity. I didn't have any pride. I didn't like who I was. I didn't like my life. I love all of those things now. And those, like, that feeling is such a disconnect, and it like robs those things of you. Like, I felt like shit. I had no energy. I wanted to lay around all day and not do anything. And it was just like, ugh, I don't like any of it. When before it was such a warm, I hear people say the warm, wet hug, that you get when you get high. And it's like, once I've worked on me, and once I've started to work on all of the parts of myself that I actually didn't like before that I actually like now, the feeling was it was so different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's like, I want to be present for my life now, and now you're taking that away from me, when that's actually what I want. I don't want to be knocked out.
Yeah,
I want to be present for all these great things.
Yeah, totally. I like the clarity. I like to be able to be present. I like to be able to, like, I don't mind the person when I look in the mirror now, who I'm looking back at me. Before, I used to just hate that. So, what's been going on with you? I haven't talked to you in a couple weeks since we haven't been here due to a surgery and some scheduling events. How's life in Elisa's world?
I don't know. I guess I'm feeling like pretty calm and balanced, and I think that it's because I've like been engaging more in my recovery process, and so I feel more aligned with, I don't know, like the universe, like I am where I'm supposed to be, because I'm being open and willing to follow that, to go with the flow and not fight it, and do the right thing no matter how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And so just, I'll go through times where I'm like, I fall off something, not going to meetings as much, or like, give up a service position, or stop working steps for a while, and then fucked up shit happens, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's why that. And then I re-engage, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I do this, because like my life is so much better. So for me, it's just been like having a routine of doing the right things, even if I don't feel like it, the things that I'm working on today are like routine things. So like checking in at the end of the day and meditating at the start of the day. And like I'd love to be an addict about it and be like, I don't need to do that tonight, or I'll take off this time, or I'll just sleep in a little bit. And then being like that self-honesty that we were just talking about of like, no, that's not in my best interest today. Might feel good for now. It's not going to feel good later if I skip this.
Check in at the end of the day. What does that mean?
I have a pretty long list of questions that I ask myself.
You mind sharing what it is? Or some of them?
Different. What's that?
Is there some you could share with us so we have an idea what you mean?
Yeah, so for me it's the 10th step. But what that looks like for me is checking in pretty much like, am I seeing any negative patterns coming back in my life? How was I spiritually present? How was I of service? What do I have to be grateful for? Is there something I should have shared with my sponsor that I haven't? Did I go to any meetings or talk to anyone in recovery? Was I resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid? Just a bunch like that. Did I exercise? Did I take a nap? Did I procrastinate? I mean, it's a pretty long list, but like certain things will stand out to me, where I'm like, oh yeah, this one thing is bothering me and I need to deal with it. If not tonight, by tomorrow, I need to address it in some way.
How long have you been doing that?
Well, I had been doing it for a few months and I fell off, and then a lot of bullshit happened in my life and I got into a lot of pain, and probably a lot of it I could have avoided if I had been doing that more regularly. So I just kind of started again this last week, and so far so good.
What's the benefits you get out of it? It sounds like the accountability thing that we have in the second book.
I mean, it's pretty much that. There's just more questions, and I do it with myself, but I also discuss it with my sponsor. The benefit for me is like I can stop negative patterns from actually becoming a pattern, like just letting it be like a single event. Like, oh, I should have been more honest with this person about my feelings or my intentions. Okay, well, I don't have to stuff my feelings and intentions for 6 months and then blow up. Tomorrow I can say to this person, this is how I'm feeling, and fucking deal with it right away. And so there's less bullshit that I'm stuffing or stringing along in my life.
Okay. So, creating a practice that's regular. So I was talking about the accountability thing that we have in the second book, and I'll just explain what it is. So you guys remember when COVID first happened? And I want to mind you, I'm not talking about people that got sick or deaths or any of those things that happened. That was all horrible. I actually lost a couple people personally, so that's not the part of the COVID thing I'm talking about. But remember when the world first shut down in COVID? It was, at first, can't go to work. It was kind of like, it seemed like summer vacation a little bit, When no, can't do anything. I can't go to work. I can't run. I can't do anything. It was like, cool. I don't have to literally do anything. And for about a month, it was kind of cool. I mean, I'm not talking, once again, I want to be clear, I'm not talking about the sickness and things that came with it, but just the freedom that going from, having to go to just the complete diametric opposite of that, where your life was just completely wide open. I don't have to do anything ever. But after about a month of that, I noticed, as we got into December of that first year, I remember sitting at home, and it had been forever since I'd actually talked, because I was living alone. I hadn't talked to other people really. And I was super depressed. I started getting really in my head. Days would just kind of float in and out. I wasn't exercising the way I did. I wasn't going to meetings the way I was. I wasn't doing any of the shit that I normally did. and I got really super depressed. And I ended up on the phone with a friend of mine that was in Denver at the time, and we were talking back and forth, and she was saying the same thing basically happened to her. And the funniest thing was, when it was her, I had all the right answers. I was like, oh, when was the last time you went to a meeting? She was like, well, it's been a couple weeks. When's the last time you talked to your sponsor? Oh, I haven't in a while. When's the last time you danced? When was the last time you did this? Blah, blah, blah. And it was great until she turned it on me. And she said, when's the last time you went to a meeting? I was like, oh, well, yeah, it's been about a month. When's the last time you did this? And so we realized that neither of us were doing any of the shit that we had in our whole practice. So we created an accountability partnership between each other. Because once again, I will, if it's left up to me, I'm going to talk myself into some version of bullshit about how it's not important to follow through with. So what we did is we created a partnership between she and I. And so the first thing we did is we divided the week equally amongst us, so 7 days. So her days were Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and mine were Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And on my days, I would call her, and on her days, she would call me. And we picked a time of the day that was early in the day, so it kind of motivated you to get up out of bed and do some shit, but not late enough to, not so early that it was like, oh, I'm gonna do some things. So we picked it ended up being 10:55 a.m., which happened to work for both of our schedules for whatever reason. And then we went through and asked each other a series of questions, and I'm going to ask you guys these same questions today. So I'm going to tell you what they are first and kind of the context behind them, and then, the long-term effects. So the first question is, what are you doing for your recovery today? And now I don't mean I'm going to stay clean and sober. Yeah, that's a given. No shit. Something meaningfully specific you're going to do for your recovery today. So Elise, what are you doing for your recovery today?
I did meditate this morning.
Okay, so you did meditate. All right. Kat, what are you doing for your recovery today?
There's a training that I have to go attend this afternoon.
Okay, so training you have to go attend. Okay. So the second one is, what are you doing for your mental or spiritual self? Now, I know not everybody has a spiritual practice in their life. Some people may not know what that is. If you do, great. If you don't, great. But you can always do something for your mental self. So, oh yeah, I didn't answer either. What am I doing for my recovery today? What is today? Today is Thursday. I am going to go to a meeting tonight at 7. That's one that I go to pretty regularly. Since I can't go to do the physical thing I normally do, I'm going to go to a meeting. The second question is, what are you doing for your mental or spiritual self? Elise, what are you doing for your mental or spiritual self?
Hopefully, if she can meet up, I'm supposed to talk to my sponsor later and discuss like some of the assignments that I've done, which I think will help me like process and move forward.
Okay, cool. What you doing for your mental or spiritual self today?
With me, I always, have a pocket full of crystals with me. You know what I mean? To help the healing energy.
Okay. Cool.
Always, every day.
Yeah, and there's no wrong answers to these.
Different crystals than in the past.
Yes. Yeah. There's all kinds of different ones. There's an amethyst and a different opal.
Yeah.
There's probably like 7 different ones.
Ones that were not meth lab created.
Yes.
That's great. What am I doing for my mental self? I've actually been diving through this audio book that I really liked on neuroplasticity. Weirdly a nerd with kind of some stuff like that. Okay, the next one is, what are you doing for your physical self? Now, the reason I ask this is I think a lot of times I know when I physically feel like shit, I'm immediately mentally feel like shit right after, and vice versa. When I mentally feel like shit, my physical health goes to shit. So this doesn't mean you have to be a gym rat or whatever, but we can all do something for our physical health. Be it get a night's sleep, be it eat something, be it whatever you do to kind of improve your physical sense of self. So Elise, what are you doing for your physical self today?
I have popping class tonight, the street dance style.
Okay, cool.
Class.
I got physical therapy homework.
Physical therapy homework. Okay, I love that. I am going for small walks since I can't do really much else than that without tearing things apart, but I'm cool. It's a step in the right direction, okay? So the next question on here is, what are you doing to make today worth living? Like we all think we're going to live forever. And this question kind of came from a time when, how can I put this? The governor of New Mexico liked me so much she insisted I not leave the state. I was on probation, I couldn't leave. So my mom used to come from Colorado and she would come visit me. And she was coming down about 4 times a year. And it dawned on me that, wow, my mom's 75 years old. If she lives to an average lifespan of, 80, and she comes down 4 times a year, I'm only going to see her 20 more times in my lifetime. And when I started to look at those trips through that lens, it really wanted to make me take advantage of the opportunity and the time that we had. So, what are you doing to make today worth living, Elise?
It's funny. It kind of like it's the more that I meditate, the more I'm able to see like really small things that matter. I mean, just really simple things are all a part of making life worth living to me. Like I can walk my dog and stop and be like, oh my God, this flower, when did it get here? It's so beautiful. Let's stop and smell it. And so I think just the effect of being more mindful in general makes me feel that way.
Okay, nice. Kat, what are you doing to make today worth living?
Kind of like Elise said, just living in the moment. Like not worrying about what happened in the past because I can't go back and fix it, and not future tripping because I don't know what's gonna happen. So whatever happens today. Okay. Just roll with it.
Stay in the moment. All right. What am I doing to make today worth living? I think I like doing this. I love these conversations because you guys make me think about things I never thought about before. Okay. So the last one is, how are you doing your Goodrest? And yes, it says Goodrest. Now, Goodrest came from, there was a program I used to work with in the west side of New Mexico. And they have this great, it's a 90-day program, but they have a graduation once a month for everybody that finishes, and they invite family members and all these people to come to it. And they're like, you should come to the graduation. I'm like, all right, cool. I showed up, and there's like all these families running around and kids, and everybody's all happy for their loved one who's getting out of treatment and doing really good. And I walk, and there's a podium at the front of the room, and right in front of the podium there's this little, he couldn't have been 3 or 4 years old, little boy standing there, just wide-eyed, staring at the podium. I'm like, what's up, little man? What are you doing? He's like, I'm waiting right here because my daddy's going to come talk right there, and he's doing Goodrest, and I'm going to watch. And he was so proud of his dad. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life, but I love the way he said it. He said, my daddy's doing the Goodrest, and he's going to be right there. And so it made me think, what are we doing that's good to impact others? So, I know you can't plan ahead for this sometimes, but you can look back at the last recent time. What have you done to do good for someone else, Elise?
Well, I do plan for it as far as doing service, just because at the very least I need to make sure that I'm doing something regularly in that respect. But I do feel that way also about the work that I do with people in recovery, and to me, work is not service. That's something else that I do, because service is expecting nothing in return. Mm-hmm. But I do know that when I'm working, I never do the bare minimum. I'm always bringing as much to the table as I'm able to, and then I get to see really cool things like yesterday. I was talking to someone who just started crying, and I haven't seen that from her much, and she'd kind of come to a deeper place of awareness and willingness than I've seen so far, and it was just really beautiful to just know that I was like a part of that process and just get to like witness it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really great. What are you doing to do your goodest in life, Kat?
By doing what I'm doing, going through this surgery and being able to demonstrate to, other people in recovery, or just, whether it be here in the state or, back in Florida, that, if I can do this, y'all can do it. Y'all don't have to go back down that path. So just being an example, on what it would look like.
Okay, nice. What am I doing? Oh my goodness. I spent some time at a Starbucks this morning talking to somebody who was brand new, trying to figure out how do you actually start this process of doing things differently. Was basically what that is. So, the long-term effect of this. So we started this, and back to the original story, the two people that started this, when she and I started this. Both of us were super depressed, and we did this consistently for, I think we got up to 63 or 64 days of literally checking in with each other every day. It was dramatic how much of a change of perception this small process did on a daily basis over time to change our attitudes. And really, the depression went away, that like a lot of the things went away because I had some accountability with somebody else to do it. So I would really encourage people to try. So to fast forward and give you the questions that were on there, once again, it was, what are you doing for your recovery today? Something meaningfully specific. What are you doing for your mental or spiritual self? What are you doing for your physical self? What are you doing to make today worth living? And how are you doing your goodest? But yeah, the long-term effect of that over time was crazy impactful, over time. So cool.
Yeah, and I feel like it has, what we ended up talking about has a lot to do with what we started talking about. Like, yeah, it's really important to like create accountability, especially around specific situations that we feel like might be dangerous. But like, just having like open discussion about how we're feeling with our support network and being accountable and honest just regularly all the time for everything, like, and making that a routine, like, that's when, just benefits just come out of the woodwork, like, more than we could have ever even imagined.
Totally, because we're looking at the lens of what we're doing through the life we're living now, and not through the life of the one we were living when the dynamics are different, and that has a huge impact. The person that would have put me actively using through any of these medical procedures, I would have blown up that bottle. I would have asked for 10 more. I would have told him right away that prescription's not enough, make it bigger. All those Atticus things, But none of those things happen because, the beauty of recovery is that it changes who we are into somebody that we want to be, not somebody who's manipulative and lies and cheats and tries to get over and isn't isolating and keeping away. So, I love the takeaways of today. So how can you get through this? You can ask people for support. You can, speak up out loud and create some accountability for the people that you're with through friendships, partners, sponsors, workers, people that are your close people to help you stay really connected to this. You can create a process of accountability with other people. To be able to do that, you can ask people for support with medication, so you're not the ones that, so it's not only my hands and my decisions that are holding me accountable. You can create a lot of layers of moats of security around you to this, and ask your broader community around you to hold you accountable, and help for support. So cool. Well, thanks, guys. I really appreciate this. I love this conversation. This was really good. Thanks again, you guys. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Later.
All information and other content supplied or communicated in or through this video is for general informational purposes only and does not nor is intended to constitute legal or medical advice. Any viewer of this video should contact his or her own attorney, doctor, or other applicable advisor or practitioner to obtain legal, medical, or other applicable advice with respect to the accuracy, reliability, or potential application to such viewer of any matter discussed or portrayed in this video. Please do not act or refrain from acting in any way based on any information or content supplied or communicated in or through this video. The views expressed during this video are those of the individual presenters only and not those of Choice Recovery Path LLC or any of its customers, suppliers, or affiliates. Any liability with respect to actions taken or not taken by any viewer based on any information or content supplied or communicated in or through such video is hereby expressly disclaimed. All such information or content is expressly provided as is and free of any representation or warranty of any kind.